Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world.
Live from the Keith Vincicalo Studios in Paterson, New Jersey, brought to you by the people at Golden Spins. This is our weekly podcast, Is This Real? Today's subject, did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? As usual in the booth tonight, we have Joshua Roadblock Rivera.
Yes, sir.
We have Rayu West to my immediate left over here. Eric Polanco. I'm Joe Caiola Jr., and as usual, we have our host, Joe Caiola III, which means there's two of us. And he does this every week. So, Joe, take it away. What do we got today?
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for that illustrious intro, Dad.
Like 4 times the charm.
So this week, shut up. This week, we wanted to ask the question, did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? Because last week, we asked the question, who was Jeffrey fucking Epstein? And we, I believe, answered that question. And the question leading up to this week, obviously, is whether or not we believe he killed himself or not. And Eric is shaking his head at me right now. He doesn't believe it. But what we have to do is we have to lead up to his death and figure out what happened in his death, or, during his death, and what led up to his death. So, the first part, so on July 6th, 2019, Mr. Epstein was arrested in New York on multiple charges, including sex trafficking, and held at the Metropolitan Correction Center. He pleaded not guilty. He faced similar charges in Florida in 2008, like we talked about last week, but he escaped federal charges. So basically, on July 18th, which is, 2 weeks later, he was denied bail after offering $600,000 to be able to wear an ankle tracker at his New York City townhouse. He was viewed as a potential flight risk because of the 20 international flights he took in the previous 18 months. Epstein appealed the bail denial decision to the United States Court of Appeals. At the time of his death, the appeal was still pending. So at 1:27 a.m. on July 23rd, Epstein was found semi-conscious in his cell with injuries to his neck. Prison officials questioned his cellmate, multiple murder and drug conspiracy suspect, Nicholas I can't say that last name.
I thought you hiccuped.
Nope. Tartaglione? I believe that's how you say that last name. I don't know. My English is horrible.
I hope so.
He denied harming Epstein. An internal prison investigation cleared that motherfucker of any connection to the event. An unnamed source, claimed Epstein staged the incident in order to be transferred. Spencer Coven, a lawyer who represented 3 of Epstein's alleged victims, said in July 2019, after Epstein's first apparent suicide attempt, that he believed it was an attack on his life and that there was a high probability that he would be murdered in prison. Now, that's July 23rd, 2019. That's in the days following. That's what the person, the Spencer Coven, the lawyer who represented the alleged victims, said about Epstein. That someone was trying to murder him. Not that he's trying to take his own life. He said that someone was trying to murder him. As a result of the incident, Epstein was placed on suicide watch. He was held in an observation cell surrounded by windows where lights were left on and any devices that he could use to kill himself were not permitted. After 6 days, the psychological staff removed Epstein from suicide watch following a psychiatric examination. He then returned to the Special Housing Unit, the SHU, where he was able to have a cellmate and be checked on every 30 minutes. A note written by Epstein was found in his cell after his death. In it, he complained about large bugs crawling on his body, guard Tova Noel giving him burnt food, and on a guard intentionally locking him in a shower cell without clothes for an hour. So, Eric, I know you have the schedule timeline of what happened that day.
Yes, I do.
Please go through that for me right now.
Well, before that, I'm going to just read the official FBI statement. So, on Saturday, August 10th, 2019, at approximately 6:30 a.m., inmate Jeffrey Edward Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the Special Housing Unit from an apparent suicide at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or the MCC, in New York, New York. Life-saving measures were intended immediately by responding staff. Staff requested emergency medical services, or EMS, and life-saving efforts continued. Mr. Epstein was transferred by EMS to a local hospital for treatment for life-saving injuries, as subsequently pronounced dead by hospital staff. The FBI is investigating the incident. So, starting on July 6th, Epstein was arrested for, like how Joey said, the sex trafficking between 2002 and 2005 with minors. He's held at MCC. July 8th, Epstein pleads not guilty. July 10th, Epstein assigned to the Special Housing Unit for risk factors such as suicide and safety from general population. July 18th, Epstein denied bail and must remain at MCC. Here's the day that Epstein was found. On the 23rd of July, officers find Epstein on the floor with a strip of his bedsheet around his neck. He's transferred out of SHU and placed on suicide watch for 24 hours. Then he's transferred for psychological observation. On the 30th of July, Epstein's transferred back to the SHU unit, with an assigned cellmate, which was part of their program, and needed to be placed near the correctional officer's area for the suicide watch. On the 31st of July, Epstein appears in court and shows no signs of injury. Next court date is October 8th.
Well, that's look, I know Josh is chomping at the bit over there with the actual. I think we should start with basically the coroner's report, because that's going to tell us a lot about what could have possibly happened to this guy.
Yes, sir. I can tell you that right now. So, as per some posts I found in my homework, there was actually an autopsy report that was found and discussed by someone who was actually hired by Epstein's brother. Now, this gentleman is Dr. Michael Baden. Baden, sorry. Pronounced it wrong. Baden. He's a forensic pathologist. And as per his statement, at first, for what happened... Alrighty then.
Oh, God.
All right. As per the...
Sorry about that. I'm back.
As per the ruling of the NYC medical examiner's office, ruling it a suicide hanging. However, Dr. Michael Baden suggests otherwise because of some facts that were brought up due to x-rays, stating that this situation is rare in suicidal hangings. Now, what had happened was there was 3 fractures that were noted in the autopsy. One on each of the left and right sides of his larynx, specifically the thyroid cartilage or Adam's apple, and one on the left hyoid bone above the Adam's apple. Now, there's several pictures. According to the summary, the bone exhibited a fracture on the left. Thyroid showed 2 fractures, one on the right, one on the left, consistent with what Baden described. However, there wasn't enough information to have that be conclusive. The 3 fractures... sorry, I worded that wrong. There was not enough information to be conclusive as an actual suicidal hanging. Because of those fractures that they found in the x-ray, those fractures are actually rare, as said by the doctor. Those are actually types of fractures you see more in actual homicidal murders and strangulations rather than someone who actually is just trying to hang themselves. Right. The pressure that was caused from allegedly or possibly being pushed onto a rope or something around your neck would cause more force than someone just trying to hang themselves or strangle themselves or fall over or whatever it is. There is actually a lot more force needed to be exerted in this case for those type of fractures to happen, as depicted on the pictures in the autopsy report.
Right.
Yikes!
I got a question. Did on the night of the murder or the night of the death? I'm going to say death because I personally believe he was murdered. But I'm going to ask anybody on this panel here. Do we know? Does anybody know what went down in that jail cell as far as? I know that he was on suicide watch and he was taken off of suicide watch.
Yes.
You got to ask yourself why he was taken off suicide. If he's going to hang himself, is he not going to hang himself at a certain time? Well, does he stop for, prayer meetings or something?
I don't know if you're going to jump on this right now, but I have basically it's like minute by minute.
Yeah, I have the exact same thing.
All right, so Eric, take it away.
So this is the night of Epstein's death. So August 9th, hundreds of court pages are unsealed in New York and show more allegations against Epstein and his associates. So that same day at 8 a.m., Epstein's cellmate is transferred out. It's a prearranged. He had an assigned cellmate. I think you stepped out for this, Joey. So this is that same day at 4 o'clock. Tova Noel, 31. He begins his shift at the SHU. He's been employed at the MCC as a correctional officer since 2016. Noel and unnamed Officer 1 do not perform the required 4 p.m. court count. So they have to do a count for every at certain times.
Yeah, to check up on him.
To check up on, not even on him, just on everybody. Right. So they just didn't do that at all. That's the 4 o'clock one. So at 5:03, let's see. Based on the false count slip, Epstein clears the 4 p.m. count. So this is at 7:49 that same day. Epstein returns from SHU from an attorney visit and is escorted back by Noel and another officer. Around or before 10 o'clock, all inmates are locked in their cells for the night.
Can I touch base real quick?
Yes.
What I'm reading here is from Noel that he described Epstein being upbeat while they're walking back to Epstein's cell.
Like very happy?
Yeah, like he's upbeat, like he's walking back jolly and stuff like that. So that's...
Well, then again, maybe he heard some good news from his attorney because he just came back from an attorney meeting.
All right, so continue.
So at 10 o'clock, Noel and unnamed Officer 2 do not perform the required 10 p.m. count. They sign and complete a count slip falsely. 10:30, Noel briefly walks up and walks back to the door to the tier that Epstein is housed in. That's the last known footage of anybody seen walking to his cell until 6:30 the next day. So 10:36, based on the false court count slip, Epstein clears the 10 p.m. count. August 10th at midnight, Michael Thomas, 41, begins his 8-hour shift at the SHU. Does not complete his 12 a.m. Count. So 12:49, he clears the midnight count. And then here's the very interesting part. From midnight to 6:30, Noel and Thomas failed to complete any of the required 30-minute roundups and signed more than 75 separate files falsely. Noel and Thomas sit at officers' desk area and use the computers for personal sessions. For about 2 hours, the officers sit at their desks, not moving, appearing as if they were sleeping.
And here's another thing, which I'm reading right now. It's very, very interesting. Apparently, the 2 cameras that were in front of Epstein's cell malfunctioned.
Happened
that
to
night.
Oh, wow.
And then another camera that had footage that was
I gotta tell you,
unusable.
shit like this just pisses me off. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 o'clock rolls around. They don't complete the 3 o'clock count, so they sign that slip, obviously, of course. And then 3:24, it clears that 3 o'clock count. 4 o'clock, an overnight supervisor comes in and checks up on Noel in the SHU before leaving his shift. So obviously they're awake at that point.
Mm-hmm.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, they don't complete the 5 a.m. count. 5:30, they all clear the 5 a.m. count. And then at 5:30, another officer briefly walks through the SHU common area. Video shows no one else walked through and is made rounds to check up on Epstein. Shortly after 6 o'clock in the morning, Noel and Thomas receive a delivery for breakfast carts at the SHU. 6:30, Noel and Thomas walk back and forth and enter Epstein's tier to serve breakfast. 6:33, alarm is activated at SHU. Epstein is alone with a noose around his neck. Unnamed Supervisor 1 responds immediately. Noel approaches the door and tells Supervisor, quote, Epstein hung himself. We did not complete the 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. rounds. Thomas says, we messed up. I messed up. She's not to blame. We didn't do any of the rounds. Then at 10 o'clock, then August 10th in the morning, Epstein is taken to the hospital where he's pronounced dead and from apparent suicide.
All right, so I know you have something to say, Dad, but we do have to take a little break.
I wanted to finish this because I'm really intrigued on this, and I do have a lot of things to say, but you know.
So, Eric, was that the complete timeline, or is there more to go?
Yeah, that's the complete timeline because then the FBI released their statement, and that's that.
Okay, we'll get back to what Dad has to say and the FBI statement.
Yeah,
right after this little break.
I already read the statement, so.
Are you looking for a vinyl LP or cassette tape? 45 RPM? If so, you've come to the right place. Golden Spins. We have thousands of titles in stock and ready to ship. Call us at 862-336-2275 or go to our store at discogs.com/seller/goldenspins/profile. We can find whatever you may need. We proudly accept PayPal and every major credit card. Welcome back, everybody. So, obviously, we got the complete timeline of what happened that night. There's a lot of questions there.
Oh, my God.
Like, more than my brain can probably fathom right now. I don't know, Josh, what do you think?
My only question is why the hell did the videotapes allegedly go missing?
Well, no.
That's just a tidbit.
It says they were not usable. Like, the camera, they malfunctioned, and then another camera was unusable. The footage was unusable.
No, I know, but depending on the count and who you ask, there's actually some people that do say that the video footage is just gone completely.
Okay, I'm gonna school you guys a little bit on something here.
Ooh,
if you study enough of these cases like I have over the past 20 years, and you learn one thing: anytime there's a murder, anytime there's a bombing, anytime there's a shooting, anytime there's a subway blown to smithereens, or anytime there's a 9/11, what happens is there's plausible deniability. And what I mean by that is basically this. You have, on 9/11, you had other drills that were running, supposedly confusing the pilots, or confusing our Air Force as not to get involved because it was happening at the same time there was a test run. Okay, on the 7/7 bombings in London, The police didn't know what to do because there was a test run that day. They were being told by the actual the government that, oh no, it's nothing going on. It's just this happening. Okay, this has got all them earmarks, and the reason I say that is because basically what they're doing is, well, now we don't know what happened to the videotapes. Okay, you got cops that weren't doing their jobs. All right,
signing false documents.
They were signing false documents. So let's blame that on it. We'll blame this on it. We're going to look this way. We're going to look that way. We're going to look every way possible. But we're not going to look at the guys that are going to walk into the cell and kill them. Okay, now that's how this stuff works, folks. All right, they take you and they put your mind in a million different places. They distract you, and what they do is they distract you to get what they want done. And if you remember back in a couple episodes, I gave you this statement. Okay, it's basically what they want is they're going to problem, reaction, solution. It comes down to that. It's very simple, and it happens to be on any of these things that happen. Okay.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win seal. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
Big one, though. Like, that one, it was because he was exposed to really powerful people, so it just, made it more of a...
Exactly.
BuzzFeed or more clickbait.
There's a lot of people that were involved with him. A lot of people that had access to these police or whatever. So who knows what happened? But I can tell you what didn't happen. This guy didn't just randomly kill himself, and he really, he was on a suicide watch. Then all of a sudden he's taken off the suicide watch, and he says to himself, well, now's the time I'm going to off myself.
Not only that.
Come on. Common sense now.
Very interesting, too. I think you missed this. I think you stepped out for this. In that timeline, when he saw, let's see,
Back to the notes.
Back to the notes.
And by the way, folks, is there anybody more prepared than this man? Seriously, I live with this every week. I watch these notes and I'm sitting there going, how the fuck does he do this shit?
So,
well, he's already prepared for next week's episode.
It's amazing. He really is.
So on the 31st of July, Epstein appeared in court, and this was 7 days. Well. 8 days after he apparently tried to allegedly hang himself the first time,
on the 23rd.
and he showed no signs of injury, and then he got his court date pushed to the next day.
Yeah,
so it's just that's just mad iffy though. Like
wow,
what the fuck, bro?
Well, there's discrepancies with this because obviously we're talking about it and there's more discrepancies. So Epstein's death was the first death ruled suicide at the MCC in 14 years. Michael Baden and 60 Minutes questions whether Epstein, who was almost 6'1", I guess, or 6 foot in general, and weighed 185 pounds, could have been able to hang himself from the lower bunk. Photos taken after the death also show bottles and medicines. Bottles and medicine standing upright on the top bunk. Baden also questioned why Epstein did not use other materials available in the cell as ligature.
Yeah.
I said that correctly. Hey.
Shout out to your English.
Thank you. Such as wires and tubing from a sleep apnea machine, which were stronger and longer.
The question is, why the fuck does he have this shit if he's already on suicide watch?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, they took him off the suicide watch.
They basically, well, yeah. But why would you? Why would you, Josh? You have an answer for that? Because I can't. It blows my mind. How the fuck do you take somebody over? Today, he's going to kill himself. But at 6:30, you know what? We're not going to look at him, but let's pull the suicide watch because I think he's doing okay.
Mr. Epstein, do you feel like killing yourself today? No, not right now.
Hey, come on,
all right,
folks.
he checks off.
Well,
Send him back.
Well, I can tell you with my experience because my family, I have a lot of family that's in the nursing field, and they've mentioned things like that once or twice in a blue moon. Obviously, they can't go into details because of, the rules and
Right.
regulations and the law. But at least from what I've seen, even if someone's on suicide watch, the only things they would be allowed to have that could cause harm would only be necessary medical things. So, like, if he needed a breathing apparatus of some kind or something like that, yeah, sure, they might have tubings for that and stuff, and that has to be closely monitored because they could use those types of
but not
objects.
here, though. But not here because the cameras weren't working.
Well, yeah, that too. But
Well,
it would
also,
also depend on what his medical condition was, if he had anything in there to begin with.
You would think that they'd handcuff him to the bed and say, if you need this, we're going to put it on you.
Yeah.
You're on
That's what I'm
suicide
saying.
watch.
Was there any full details as to...
Doesn't that go against human rights, though, if that's the case?
No, because with people for suicide watch, they do that.
Yeah, there's people that's even strapped to beds.
Yeah, people who have like psychiatric problems, they strap them to beds because they're harmful to themselves.
This is screaming. I mean, what you just read, and you still even got. I mean, my blood is boiling right now. You haven't even read the FBI statement yet. It just bothers me because I've seen this so many times. I've seen what they do. They put this up like this, and you're looking over here. Meanwhile, they're doing what they want to do over here, and you're not paying attention because this is important to you, and you're not paying attention to what they're doing over here. It's important to them.
Well,
yeah, it just makes me crazy.
Well, Eric, do you have the FBI statement?
Yes, I do. I'll read it again.
Through the notes.
Back to the notes again. So, on Saturday, August 10th, 2019, at approximately 6:30 a.m., inmate Jeffrey Edward Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the Special Housing Unit from an apparent suicide at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or the MCC, in New York, New York. Life-saving measures were intended immediately by responding staff. The staff requested emergency medical services, or EMS, and life-saving efforts continued. Mr. Epstein was transported by EMS to a local hospital for treatment for life-threatening injuries. Excuse me, and subsequently pronounced dead by hospital staff. The FBI is investigating the incident. End quote.
That's it.
That's
that was literally like. Okay.
That's literally the official FBI statement.
The death
word for word
of a serial pedophile financier that's got big people in his corner that know where all the bodies are buried, but yet that's a statement. Was it 3 paragraphs? A paragraph long?
Yeah.
I got a question for everybody. Let me see. Anthony Bourdain. I'm trying to come up with the June 8th.
Well, Anthony Bourdain's death.
Give me the date of Epstein's death again.
August 10th, wasn't it? He was found dead at the morning of August 10th.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little because a lot of people are saying that photograph that they were taking him out on the stretcher after he hung himself was actually Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, so
I mean, I can see where they look exactly alike.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, they do kind of.
Here's Anthony Bourdain right here.
You never seen Anthony Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain had a TV show.
I'm just seeing him right now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, he died. Now, unless this was an elaborate plot where somebody offed him, because he too killed himself. So maybe it was an elaborate plot where they killed him and then kept him on ice.
Let's talk about
some Disney theory.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the major conspiracy theory here. And I don't know if you've hit it yet, Dan, but it was the fuel that was added to the fire for this conspiracy theory was by our former president, Donald Trump. And his words were,
"How could Trump fuel a conspiracy?"
A few hours after Epstein's death was announced, President Donald Trump responded by tweeting a post related to the Clinton body count, a conspiracy theory purporting to link Epstein's death to former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
That in itself right there is a 3-part episode.
Wait, so
hold on a minute.
Clinton body count?
Yeah,
Clinton body count.
The Clintons, if you study, and I know you will, I'll get them 3:00 in the morning text messages with these revelations.
Pupils all dilated. What the you wouldn't believe what I just found, man.
I believe anybody that gets involved with the Clintons winds up somehow mysteriously. Not anybody, not everybody. I'm getting it wrong.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But somehow they're involved. They cross paths with the Clintons and something where they don't like the Clintons, or they've done something the Clintons don't like, and it becomes a threat to the Clintons.
He had that.
They wind up dead.
He had that man in a blue dress, man. Like that's.
I'm not going to sit here and give you. I'm not going to give you a list of it because, like I said, that's a show all to itself. But the Clintons were heavily involved. Bill was on the plane, like we said last week, 26 times.
That's a lot of times, man.
We know he's a fucking horn dog. We know the guy would fuck a snake if you get held straight. Okay.
Whoa, wait.
So, you know what? It's
don't question it, Joey.
It's one of those things
allegedly. Don't question
it,
Three.
Again, that's my 2 cents on the Clintons right now. I don't want to go into it right now because I didn't do my homework. I know of certain things, but I'm not going to bring that forward right now.
I do just want to read because I clicked on the link for the Clinton body count page.
You're going to go off into a whole different order.
No, I just really want to read the first line. That's it. And this will be a future episode to anybody that's listening. But the first 4 words is, or 5 words is, Clinton body count is a debunked conspiracy theory, and that's all you have to read.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. And who owns that website, Bill Clinton?
Well, Wikipedia, so we can find out who owns Wikipedia.
Like, I fucking trust those people.
But yeah, so getting back to Epstein,
Senior Epstein.
There's a lot of obviously with the Clinton body count. It's you sit there and you have to wonder, what if he was murdered? What did he have? Why was he murdered?
You don't fly on a fucking plane with a known pedophile for that amount of time.
Not only that,
and they're not friends.
Not only that, but as I think I mentioned last week, there was one girl that's a victim survivor that she mentioned that one of the other girls at that time tried to escape to another part of the island, and they found her immediately. So that let her know that at any point you were being monitored at that island 24/7.
I'm surprised they didn't have any ankle bracelets on and shit like that.
Well, because they went there voluntarily, so it's not like if you start putting ankle bracelets on them, and then you start seeing little girls running away with ankle bracelets on, you start questioning yourself. Hey, yo, what the fuck is going on this damn island? But no,
I get you. I'm just saying, like, if they were closely monitored like that, it's like having a fucking ankle bracelet on. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he supposedly did have blackmail against a lot of people.
So so basically, a
lot of people.
A lot of people, man. A lot.
That's
allegedly.
The thing, allegedly. You have to sit there and, like, if he has
podcast to allegedly.
If he had this much dirt, then he would have been killed a long time ago, not just because he was arrested.
Why? Why would you kill him when he's doing what you want him to do? He's giving you free access. He's giving you reign to enjoy all the luxuries that a billionaire can give you, and you can pop any person you want to pop. If you're a pedophile,
Well, so I'm just saying.
Look at the people, not to cut you off, but look at the people that were on that plane. How you don't hear them. They're not saying a word about Jeffrey Epstein.
It's another funny. It's a funny conspiracy
but
about that as well.
They're moving from the States.
There, not a lot of people, but a funny conspiracy that goes around is saying that that Epstein was an intelligence agent, but we don't know from where, because you've asked, like, if people ask CIA, FBI, no comment. Don't even deny it.
Well, if he was an intelligence agent, it wouldn't be FBI; it would be CIA.
Well, you know what I'm saying, like, or some type of government, because of the travels that he was doing a lot back in the 80s as well. And Epstein would tell people, "Oh yeah, I'm an intelligence."
That always comes up. That's always a theory or something that comes up, that he worked for the government. He was, in all these big conspiracies, he worked for the government. Only one conspiracy, only one big event happened where the guy that was blamed for the actual shooting worked for the government, and it came out later. It was Lee Oswald. Lee Oswald worked for the CIA. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not a joke. Okay, that's the only one that I know of
that's a whole other
that actually worked for it. I'll give you another one. The Aurora shooter. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years back, the guy shot up the movie theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Joker guy? In
Colorado? Well, the guy, if you look at him, he's got a crazy look on his face.
And orange hair.
Orange hair.
Yeah, that was the Batman, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
His father worked for the government.
Well,
But do you know whose father he worked with?
No. You're going to tell us?
The shooter from Connecticut.
Oh,
They work together.
That's a whole big.
Whoa.
Okay,
That's a fact, folks.
Whoa.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's a whole
Rabbit hole goes
big,
deep, doesn't it?
It's a very big rabbit hole to get down into.
Yeah, I know. You can't touch that subject. I know because children were killed. I get it.
No, I'm fine with touching the
Not going
subject
there right now.
But
That is an episode that I want to do. I'll do it alone if you want. I don't know.
No, I'm completely fine with it.
A lot of people don't want to touch that
I
subject.
don't care. Children are children, you know. Wow, that sounded
It's
mean.
exactly what Jeffrey Epstein thought.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Oh God. Oh God.
Anyway, I just want to add a tidbit.
Thank you, Block. Block. What do you think about all this, Block? By the way.
Yeah, I know, right? Jesus. Every episode. Every
I'm sorry. I just get carried away with these things.
Oh, so it's not me this time, though.
Yeah, no, for Dad, it's acceptable.
Oh,
Okay?
I'll just go fuck myself.
Well, I got I can't step on your toes. I get it. You guys worked
Sit there and
hard.
eat your wings, bro.
So, I mean,
Shut up, three.
Killing me with these fucking. I just text your mother. Are you hungry? Because I'm like,
want a wing?
motherfucker. No. I'm just
So,
like,
I just want to add a quick.
I would ask you three, but I know you will say yes.
I just
I
want to
haven't
add.
eaten you.
Fat ass.
I just want to add a quick bit that would probably lead up to us actually each probably answering the question, because I know we have a break in about a minute. I was reading also with the autopsy. I probably didn't say it at first or at last before we moved on, but the doctor himself made a statement saying that he has not seen in 50 years where the one bone that broke in the neck in the x-rays, he has not seen that in 50 years in any of the suicidal hanging cases that he's ever covered.
wow.
However, the New York City Medical Examiner's Office made their official statement and stand by that conclusion. And as we know, as of right now, the family is still pushing for answers because they haven't. There's no actual legitimate answers other than just what has been stated, and the investigation cannot be completed until they have as much information as they can. However, like we discussed before, a lot of it's missing.
Oh, so okay. So when we get back from break, we're going to wrap this episode up, and we'll sit there and
Well, there's a couple questions I got.
Yeah, and we'll finish all the questions. So we'll get back from the break. So I want to talk about the questions you have, Dad, and I definitely want to talk about how the family is dealing with all of this. You know, what the family did. So here's a word from our sister podcast.
How you doing? You like movies? We like movies. You like music? So do we. What about TV and video games? Are you interested in those? Well, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. A brand new podcast is coming soon. We are Multimedia Mafia. We like to discuss, critique, and argue over the media that we love. Series premieres on May 5th with a new episode dropping every Wednesday. Tune in, or a couple of guys from Jersey is going to pay you a visit.
And we are back. So, Dad, we'll get right to you. What are the questions you have?
I got a couple questions. What was the legal ramifications of these police? And
the security guards?
The security guards. What happened to them? Anybody know?
I don't think. From what I was looking at, I didn't see that they were fired.
Okay.
Well, if you fortify documents, you should be fired.
Did anybody subpoena the?
No. I think. Honestly, Block. Can you check that real quick?
I'm actually trying to as we speak.
I just want to know, did anybody subpoena the films, the tapes?
Probably, I believe 60 Minutes and Michael Baden tried to.
Right.
But they're missing.
They're missing.
Of course they are.
How, so you can't
yeah, like I
subpoena
said,
something that's missing.
well, that's what I'm saying. The two cameras in front of Epstein's cell malfunctioned. And
the most high-profile prisoner you're going to have in here in a long time. Somehow, two cameras. Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait. You're right. They're absolutely right. They're right. They're going to malfunction. They're going to malfunction just like the cameras at the Pentagon malfunctioned when that giant plane hit the ground and skidded in there and caused a 15-foot hole. Gotcha, folks. Gotcha. If you believe this horse shit, then they're railroading you. They're railroading everybody. It's time that people start standing up for this shit and demanding more from these people. Those tapes are missing. They were probably fucking destroyed.
You're starting to sound like someone we had. may he rest in peace.
I'm not. No, see, I have control. I have respect for my castmates here because I know you guys work your ass off for this.
I was also going to add fuel to that fire in one of the most popular prisons, in one of the most what is it? Capitalistic cities in the world. Whatever. I'm
biggest city in the fucking planet.
Whatever I'm going with. And on top of it too, they getting all that government money going to those prisons.
But it's not even that. Hold on, and then we'll get right to you, Josh. I'm sorry.
So how can those cameras malfunction?
And Josh, we'll get right to you.
In a state,
he's been waving his hand, trying to say something.
Folks, Josh is still with us.
In a state that's mostly blue, and who's running those states usually, and that would be the Clintons. The Clintons run that state.
Well, they live in that state.
They run that state.
I can't say they run the state. I don't know that for a fact. That's a false statement.
Allegedly.
However, I do believe that, again, we're not going to go there. There's a different show. But all
right, Josh, what do you got?
Josh, what do you
think?
Well, okay.
He always says well, finally you fuckers let me talk.
Well, we're going to give him an hour next week.
Well, people can rest easy, at least a little bit, as far as the two guards are concerned, because as a statement from the USA Today, they said that the two federal prison officers were charged with falsifying records in connection with Jeffrey Epstein's suicide.
There you go.
Check the date on that. I want to see when that was posted.
Oh, something
published on the 19th of November.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history. We also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United, and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
So that's what, 3 months after his death date?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit over 3 months.
Well, I imagine they had an investigation. It was what went on. They had to review the tapes. Oops, no tapes. They had to get all the information they could. Oh, wait a minute. There's only two guys on, and then they falsified documents in the morning, at night, and everything else.
But once you know you falsified documents, well, how did they know they falsified documents if they don't have the tapes?
Well, it was it was shown in the time, but just in the timeline, it was shown that from midnight to 6:30, they were in that common area that entire time.
Oh, okay.
They didn't leave that area at all.
That we had the tapes for.
That they had the tapes for.
All right. Okay.
It's just the 3 cameras that are on Epstein's cell.
Wow, it's amazing.
Because it said that like no one was shown walking towards that until a certain amount of time. So I want to know, and it's crazy that I didn't see any type of camera malfunction at this time. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
what I also want to know is,
does it make sense?
I want to know where are the cameras? Where are the camera footage from the cameras leading up to Jeffrey's cell? Just the cameras in front, not just those cameras. I want to know like the cell down or the hallway down.
I believe it was divided into tiers or something like that.
That's when I want to see the footage from there, because if you see people walking in and out, then
that's a whole different
ball game. But if it's just like, all right, Epstein is in cell block C and he's the only one in cell block C and all the cameras in cell block C are malfunctioning, then there's a fucking problem.
Okay, they're malfunctioning just like the Pentagon's were malfunctioning. Most secure building on
my father's
the planet, and we have 2 cameras that are working. I go to any Walmart and I got 27 cameras in a parking lot. So don't tell me don't tell me the minute they tell you that the cameras are done, that's the minute you got a problem. Sorry, folks. Sorry.
So
just to let it, I'm not defending Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, not at all.
The motherfucker could have got hit by a bus for all I give. He's a scumbag cocksucker.
Usually I say rest in peace to people, but not that guy.
But he did deserve his day in court.
Burn
That's
in
what
hell.
our government is based upon.
Burn.
But when you know too much about really powerful people, and those people are not saying anything. They're moving out of the country. I got some. I'm not going to name the star, big star that just made a movie about a girl, him and a young girl.
No, fuck that. I'll name it Tom Hanks.
But then he decided to move to Greece. There's no extradition back with the United States.
fucking country.
So you got to start questioning. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight.
Well, shout out to
my
Greece.
blood is boiling.
I'm all for anal.
So here's a question I can
really
ask.
fucking pissed right now.
That you mentioned.
He's hangry.
Yeah. Here's a question we can ask that Joey kind of mentioned before about the family, how they're taking it. I really didn't see too much, at least for me, in my research. I didn't see too much about the family itself. A lot of it was just more covered of everyone who was in the conspiracy, who might have had him killed, if he did kill himself, stuff like that. I haven't seen too much other than the family just wants damn
It's got to be tough.
Yeah, all I saw from my research was that the brother hired the doctor to
Michael Baden. Yeah.
Yes.
The brother hired the doctor.
Well, you have to look at it like it is pretty fucked up on all sides. Cause
and something very interesting. Not to cut you off, Joey.
Oh, I cut you off, so sorry.
Epstein. I think it wasn't in the timeline, but I saw it in and I wrote it down in my notes. 2 days before he died, he wrote in his will for all his money to get put into a private trust.
You said that last week. I remember you saying that.
So, I did?
Yeah, you said something about that we're going to touch base on that next week. So he put it in a private trust where nobody can get it, right?
Where like the victims can't get any type of compensation for any type of that shit because it's in a private trust. So that was 2 days before he killed himself.
Yeah, but there's also ways around that too. The lawyers have ways they can pierce what they say. I'm going to just say it's called pierce the corporate seal. In other words, if you do something as a corporation, you can't hold the people that are in the corporation liable, but sometimes they can pierce that seal.
Even if it's private?
Even if it's private, because what they can do is they can show enough cause.
In the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Well, it's U.S. territory.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, look, maybe they can't, but I know that these lawyers, they know what they're doing. If there's money, they smell it. They know what they got laws for everything. Trust me when I tell you, they can do whatever they want. And again, it has to be tough on the family too, because I'm sure his family it wasn't like him. And
they probably know. They probably know
depends.
something.
Check the flight logs.
Of course, they're going to know stuff.
That's all I'm going to say.
You know what? Sometimes in a situation like that, you can't control the sins of the father. You can't control the sins of the children.
That's true.
And they're trying not to make a big deal and keep this guy's name in the newspaper, but at the same time, they really want to know what happened to him. I do agree he should have had his day in court. I do agree that someone killed him. I don't believe he hung himself, not for a fucking minute.
Nope.
And I can't say, I'm not going to tell you I sit here, I know for a fact. I don't know for a fact.
We'll never know.
That's why we say allegedly.
When you put these things together, missing footage, missing cameras ain't working, all of a sudden, you're on suicide watch. You got to add it together.
But it's like you say, like that pattern's been shown
so many times.
And it's just thrown in our face at this point.
People don't care. They don't give a fuck.
As long as you have your TikToks, you're fine.
As long as you have this, and I'm holding up my cell phone or the computer that I'm looking at right now, people are happy. They're happy to live their lives. They're happy to go on and move on. And it's kind of tough. But anyway.
Well, speaking of people and what you believe, you've basically already answered the question, Joe. I was going to say the last question, I believe, for the night to end this podcast off, obviously, would be, do we believe Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Negative.
Eric?
So we got Eric's answer. Dad?
Not a chance in hell.
Josh?
I'm with Dad and Eric. Not a chance in hell. I don't believe it. If you go by the science and the facts and the x-rays and stuff like that, if those are legit, he did not.
Yeah, and factual in this bitch. I do not believe, just on the fact that there's no cameras around, and that always triggers my I always get the whenever someone says, "Oh, the camera's malfunctioned."
I think the real good question here too is, our audience. What do you guys believe? What is
exactly?
Do your homework. Again, don't believe anything you're hearing here.
Not at all.
Do your research. Do your own homework. Do your own research. Don't let anybody tell you about what's going on. Find it out for yourself. We're just here to bring the topic forward. And run with that. If there's one thing I want people to understand out of our podcast or these conspiracies, is basically I want you guys to I want you to just be your own boss. Don't take what you're being told for granted. Don't ever let anybody run you, and just make sure you are the captain of your own ship. I apologize for my wife. She's texting me as we speak. I should have put it on mute.
Yeah.
And that's all you're going to get from good old Uncle Joey tonight. And I really agree. I'm glad that we all agree that this clown didn't kill himself.
I think that's the first that we unanimously
agree. Because on the fence over here.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he says on the fence, I'm going to rip him a new asshole. But he surprised me.
Well, obviously, there's still a lot more to talk about, and we will talk about this. And if you want to hear more of us talking about the Jeffrey Epstein
and more about what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell,
and Ghislaine Maxwell, and all the stuff that has
logs, all this
happened after and current to date, please check our next episode about Jeffrey Epstein is going to be on specifically our Patreon, and we want you guys to definitely come to our Patreon because there's going to be a lot new content that we're going to put up just for you guys to listen, because we know the more you guys listen to us, the more you guys are going to love us. So go to our Patreon at Is This Real on patreon.com.
Self-promotion.
My man was running a presidential campaign.
You got my vote.
You got my vote. You got my vote, bro.
Oh, okay, there we go.
The more you listen, the more you'll love us.
So thank you guys. Again, I thought this was a great episode.
I do. I enjoyed this one.
Next week's episode, I'm not going to say it, but it's definitely going to be it's going to be something that obviously Eric did his research on already. And we're all not dreading it. It's not a dread. It's more of a it's a funny one. It's a funny one. Let's just go with that one. It's a funny one.
It's gonna. There's a lot to it too. Don't think there isn't, and it's not only because of what we're going to be talking about, but the guy who invented it. I'm not going to name his name because it'll give it away.
But
he had a lot of strange shit with a lot of other things.
So
I'm not going there.
And we also have to talk about who's involved with it too.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? They tell you. They tell you.
You know what? Any more context clues, guys? Any more context?
No, I think we're good. Let's end it here.
Yeah, Josh, take us out, buddy.
Shit.
Good night, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Yo, everyone, this is Roadblock speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/IsThisRealPC, on Twitter at IsThisRealPC, or on Instagram at IsThisRealPodcast, all one word.